Well, hello everyone, and welcome to a long overdue official review of Nintendo Switch Sports. Now, I've already done a video going over what I think are the good things and bad things of this game, but here we're going to have a more in-depth look at the game, going over how I think the game performs with 4 important factors: gameplay, graphics, music, and controls. Story and dialogue do not factor in here really because, well, it's not that kind of game. Here is the weighting scale I have for the 4 factors. Gameplay is 40%, graphics, music, and controls, they are all worth 20%. I will give all 4 parts of this game a rating out of 10, then multiply it by its corresponding percent, and add it all together to get my final score out of 10 at the end. Some math. Without further ado, let's get started. I guess we should tackle the most important thing first, which is gameplay. Switch Sports has 6 different game modes, with golf coming in the fall to become a 7th. As mentioned in previous videos, some sports are a hit like bowling, soccer, and chambara. Some are okay like volleyball and tennis. And badminton, yeah, not exactly sure why that's there. What's disappointing to me is the lack of options you get with this game, especially compared with Wii Sports Resort, which had double the amount of games. There was a lot of suggestions I made in my Switch Sports prediction series, you know. Dodgeball, water polo, karate would have been epic. Not that I would have expected that one, but you get my point. Nintendo could have gone all out with 10 to 12 sports, but they didn't. But what did they do with these 6 sports that were in the game? Well, they do give you a fair amount of experiences. Bowling is of course a classic, and the game allows for different modes here. There's a challenge mode with different obstacles, and of course there's online elimination mode. Online elimination truly keeps the pressure on the player. You can't afford any open frames. It is an intense contest, which sadly, I haven't won quite yet. Bowling alone gives the game some sort of replay value. When I boot up this game by myself or with others, bowling is the first sport I go to. Soccer is also good in that it offers multiple gameplay options, as there is both a 4-on-4 match and a 1-on-1. You get to experience what the game is like with and without teammates, though if you play online, it is in a Rocket League style team. There's also the shootout option requiring the leg strap. Soccer is another game with plenty of replay value. It's Rocket League, but with Nintendo charm and avatars as opposed to, you know, cars. Using energy to run or conserving it is something you have to think about strategically. So is the different ways you can strike the ball, including the glorious head dive. Soccer can be a hard sport for me, and getting mercy ruled is definitely no fun. But what is fun is hitting the game-winning goal, which I did in the last match I played. That is, in spite of the other team hitting in the golden ball, which, by the way, I think is kind of unfair. You'll build up a 2-0 lead and all of a sudden your opponent can tie it just because they hit in a golden ball worth double the points. Or on the other hand, you could just win in a mercy rule. A lot rides on that one ball and I don't think that's fair. But I am overall a fan of soccer in this game. Chambara is another sport with lots of different options, but not in the same way swordplay had in Wii Sports Resort. And to be honest, I'd rather have Speed Slice and Showdown than sword customization. Really, I'm not a fan of using the twin swords, so that already eliminates one of the 3. I do, however, enjoy the strength of the classic sword and the strategy with using up the charged up sword. Other things I enjoy, well, the intensity of sudden death over time when most of the platform disappears, the frowny face your avatar makes when it's beating up on the opponent, and hey, just beating up on the opponent and getting a hit streak, that's just fun in general. But the best part? Well, that has to be that Matt is now in the game. I already covered why Matt is such a legend in my last video, but it really needs no explanation. Hey, even this game describes him as a legend. And yes, Matt handily beats me and Poofesher every single time when we are playing powerhouse level on swordplay. The other 3 sports just aren't worth mentioning as much. I mean, they don't even give you many gameplay options other than switching the amount of players. But what's interesting about volleyball was they added a new type of attack in this update, which I'll have to explore more of. They also allowed me to play against Miis, and I played against 2 more legends in Lucia and Yoshi. Classic Miis, no doubt, but maybe they don't quite deserve the legend title like Matt does. Tennis is a lot like it is in Wii Sports, although here's what confuses me. The single player mode uses 15, 30, 40 scoring, whereas online mode goes up by 1, 2, 3. I think they should just stick with 1, and honestly, I'd stick with 1, 2, 3 to make it less confusing. And badminton is badminton. Tennis, but not as cool. and not a worthy addition to this game. I'll mention some of the other general aspects of gameplay before reaching a conclusion here. First of all, we've got to acknowledge the lack of Mii's. We've done that before, but that is somewhat helped by the recent update. It is good to see those classics back again. I also like the ability to customize your nickname, as I saw 2 people online named Boy Boy and Girl Girl today. Brilliant. Your avatars, well, I've kind of gotten used to them. They're not the same as Mii's, but you gotta use one if you want to put on any of your accessories. And that leads me to accessories. For every 100 points you score in that circle online for playing, or for doing well, you get to open up a gift box. And some gifts are really cool, like a fedora I got. After all, I do like a new hat. The stickers are also nice gifts, as you can add to the wheel of emotions that you express online, but because this is a real mystery box, some gifts will end up not being applicable. For example, I got pigtails today, and I don't exactly plan on wearing pigtails for obvious reasons. But in any case, the game definitely allows you to customize your persona in various ways, which is great to see. Well, at least if you're using the avatar that the game wants you to. Overall, I give the gameplay a 6 out of 10. It is hurt by a lack of depth, which hurts replayability. Most of the 6 sports, besides badminton, range from decent to great, and the customization aspects will keep you playing online for a good amount of time, trying to get that new hat. But there's still flaws I've pointed out, even in what is here, so I can't grade too highly. The next detail we will look at is graphics, and I have a more friendly picture to offer here. The Wii Sports graphics of old may be nostalgic, but let's be honest, they were kinda generic. There wasn't a whole lot of detail. Well, that changes with the bustling Spacco Square in this game. Particularly with bowling, I love the amount of detail you can see in the background. You can see a lot in volleyball too, actually. All the colors in this game are bright and appealing to the eye, and the menu screen for picking out the 6 sports, well, it's strangely reminiscent of Mario and Sonic at the 2020 Olympics. You know, the Tokyo map in story mode. Anyway, the backgrounds in this game are better than the Wii Sports originals, and the colors pop more. I mean, that's kind of what you'd expect with HD graphics, but the game nailed it nonetheless. I can't quite give it a perfect 10 out of 10 because they're not on that level, but I will give the graphics a 9 out of 10. Another detail I give a solid 20% weighting to is the music/sound effects. And I tell you what, the more times I open up the menu theme, the more I realize I like it. I mean, listen to it. Of course, we can make all the comparisons to Wii Sports we want, and maybe we could have gone for a nostalgic remix somewhere in there, a la Maka Woohoo. But I think the menu theme is solid as it is. As for other music that stuck out to me, well, it'd have to be the songs from the 2 online sports I like the most. Survival Bowling has an intense theme for when everyone gathers up. Rightfully then, it changes and quiets down a bit so you can actually concentrate when you're bowling. Soccer has a sporty theme as well, but also one that is kind of distant so you can concentrate on your gameplay at the same time. Smart decisions there, if you ask me. Catchy, but not too distracting. Now when it comes to sound effects, there's one that stood out to me for a bad reason. That's the noise you make when you ask for the ball. It sounds kind of like a dog whining, like But when it comes to all the ball shooting sports like tennis, volleyball, and badminton, I do appreciate all the sound cues for things like spikes and wobbly shots. So overall, I did think Nintendo did quite a commendable job with music in this game. I give it an 8 out of 10. Finally, let's talk about the last part of my Big 4 criteria, which is controls. Put quite simply, there's no major problems with the controls. They feel simple, use motion controls, and they're responsive. Like I said, no major issues, but just using one Joy-Con for a lot of the sports, well, it doesn't feel quite so satisfying as using a Wii remote. That's why I like soccer in particular. I have the satisfaction of holding 2 remotes. But I honestly wish there was some sort of backwards compatibility wherein we could use Wii remotes with this game. And that's not just my Wii Sports nostalgia talking, I think the more hefty Wii remote is genuinely more satisfying to control than the tinier Joy-Con, especially for sports like bowling. An interesting thing about the controls is that in the recent update they made it slightly more likely for pins to fall down in bowling if you add more twist to your shot, so I'll have to keep curving it as opposed to hitting it straight on. So anyway, because there's no serious troubles with the controls other than me wishing I had a Wii remote, I'll have to give it an 8 out of 10. So I put all my grades through a weighting calculator and I end up with a final score of 7.4 out of 10. According to the IGN scale, that would qualify Nintendo Switch Sports as a good game. And that's exactly what I think it is. It's good. The graphics are excellent, there's solid music and controls, all that typical Nintendo charm you'd expect. But there's an all too familiar laziness in terms of content with some of these games. I criticized Mario Golf Super Rush for its stunning lack of content, and with this game, well, just 6 sports, and one of them's badminton? Come on, I can't just keep coming back to bowling and soccer. But what this game does do well, it really does do well. So if you have some Wii Sports nostalgia, I'd still recommend getting this game. Just don't get it twice like I did. And that reminds me, since I accidentally did buy this game twice, I'm going to give away my physical copy that I bought from Amazon. Here's what you have to do to enter. Like the video, subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment saying what your favorite sport in the Wii Sports series is. So I would comment bowling. I will spin a wheel with all the commenters' names on it afterwards to determine the winner. But you have 24 hours to make your comment after I upload, so act fast. This is my first time doing a giveaway, and I don't have the game on me at this house right now, so it may take some time for it to get to you, but I do plan on giving away the physical copy of this game to one lucky commenter. So anyway, if you do have Switch Sports, what do you think of it? Let me know in the comments. Good luck in the giveaway, and I will see you next week. Bye bye.